Welcome to our podcast, episode 42 on Markiplier. So I'm creating this episode because of when I was in character as my character Michael, reacting to the Mark stuff. And also because Mark's one of my favorite YouTubers, and I haven't done one on a YouTuber since like episode 5. So I haven't done it a bit, seeing that this is 42 and that was 5. So yeah. But I have been also talking about games, series I've watched, and other stuff, and had quite a few with Sky Slayer, which probably there'll be more of like stuff with Sky Slayer. Just he hasn't been on the last couple of podcasts due to COVID, which is not fun. Not fun. I remember when I had COVID. That was also when I was streaming, but literally streamed with COVID. Maybe shouldn't have done it, but I did it anyway. But yeah. So let's talk about that. And yeah, again, anyone watching this on YouTube, I live stream this, so you can join in on the podcast, like by asking questions in like chat at any point, like. So yeah, you have a chance to be within the podcast episodes, because usually when I'm in character, I obviously don't respond because I'm like basically doing like immersion, like Michael most of the time is unaware of me or what I'm doing, like like but obviously I've broken the fourth wall a few times. Literally made a character version of myself, but yeah. But Mark is obviously a very famous YouTuber, one of the OGs on YouTube. Been doing it, he's been doing it longer than me, doing it for 10 plus years, 11 years, I don't know. It's a long time for him. 2, I've only been doing it for 2, so that's only like basically a fifth. But 2's still a lot, I guess. But yeah, it definitely takes time and dedication and editing. Lots of editing and exporting. Exporting's like the other long thing to do. Like, editing's not that hard for me anymore, especially since I keep most of it in. Like, not much gets cut, and if anything does get cut, it's usually bloopers that get added on to the end, so or end up as their own exclusive like videos by sort of for my Patreon, by sort of that's dead at the moment. It's dead. I don't bring it up much, mainly because the fact that I guess I've focused more of my time on this. Yeah, it's dead. It's not gone, but the frequency is lackluster to where it once was at. But yeah. But Mark, so he's done many things, many games, lots of games ranging from some of his most popular ones, like FNAF, to random silly games like, I don't know, there is no game, or some other stuff. And I've been around since, I think, like watching him since 2015, 16. Around that time was when I got into Mark, like, because it was 2015 they made Date. So yeah, I think it was latter 2015, like early 2016, because I know in 2015, like, I was in grade 7, and I knew at the time I was still very much a fan of Dan TM, yeah, um, yeah, that was basically the beginning of me transitioning through like YouTube as like going from like a kid to teenager, seeing that 7th grade was the beginning of my high school years. And for you Americans, yes, 7th grade is a part of high school. So is 8 and 9, because there's no middle school in Australia. So yeah, the amount of times I had to explain things to Americans about like Australian stuff. If I had like like a like a 5 cent coin, which is like the lowest coin you can get here in Australia, like every time I might have a decent amount of money, like maybe $5, which is not a lot, but like the amount of times, like it does like sometimes become annoying when you hear the same joke over and over again. But it also can be funny when they do something creative with it. Like a funny thing recently, like there's the old joke that Australia doesn't exist. For some reason, like my friends went on to like New Zealand doesn't exist. So I was like, well, that's a change of pace. And not to mention, Australian joined in on the joke, and it was like weird but funny. But yeah, enough of my ramble. Yeah, uh, getting off track. Mind, that's what happens on these podcasts. Mine gets off track, but yeah. Um, what was I saying before? Something about Mark. Uh, but yeah, Mark has done a lot. But oh yeah, about like the transition point, like um, yeah. So 2015 to 2016 would be, me becoming teenager, and yeah, 7 to 12 is high school. But like I would watch Mark. One of the first things I probably did watch was Date, because one of the other things that happened in 2015 was me getting my Steam account. And the first game I ever bought, the Stanley Parable. I love the Stanley Parable. I've done several episodes on it. Like I've done the demo. I've done Stanley Parable. I did the Ultra Deluxe. I did the original mod. I've done it with Sky Slayer. That was also the original mod, but within our Gmod. Um, I did the mod, the Raphael Parable, which it is a mod for the Stanley Parable. Um, yes, I did the Michael Parable, which was like my parody as my character Michael. Yeah, it's safe to say I love the Stanley Parable to bits. And I also like Markiplier's series on it. But it wasn't Markiplier's series that would be the one that would let me know about the Stanley Parable. It was actually, I believe, Think Noodles. Because, yeah, again, it was during the time of Minecraft, like YouTubers and all that, the like switching over to like Markiplier and I guess technically more mature stuff, but Mark's not mature. So am I guess, but yeah, um, stuff that was less, I guess, kid focused with like Minecraft, like despite like old ages could watch Dan, like, you know, and others, like it still very much is like a kid's game, even though like kinda, yeah, again you can do many things in Minecraft, some of which include making like stuff like um uh you know genitalia, so like peepees. I'm not going to say the actual word because, yeah, again, on Twitch, I don't want to get banned or something, or I have to worry about that when I stream like VR chat, which I don't do that much anymore, so yeah. Try not to do words that may or may not get me banned. But yeah, uh, so yeah, 2015 was like the shifting point of my life. Begun high school, like had Steam, like switching to different like channels that at the time I never really knew of. But one of the first was a date with Markiplier, which its style is choose your own adventure, which is very similar to, you know, Stanley Parable. Choice, if it's a choice game, I'm gonna immediately like it more than regular games. It's probably why I like, you know, like Mass Effect, Undertale, you know, what else has like multiple endings? I guess Fallout counts, um, less so in uh, like 3, but Fallout New Vegas has like a bunch of different stuff. 4 only has like, well, basically 4 endings because of the 4 factions. Um, but it's like, I think it's really hard to do the Minuteman one because of settlements and all that. I've got another settlement for you. That may be something for the future as well. Fallout. Well, add Among Us and Fallout to the list. Among Us. But yeah, so I would start watching Markiplier and get into his content, and we always and started to get excited for whenever he did do choose your own things like a heist, which when it came out it was like, whoa, yo, I can, this one is even bigger than the last one. But I end up getting like all the all the all the like stuff in like a day or 2 days. Like I got all the endings in like, yeah, I think 2 days, which Markiplier would mention later at some point, like you're like he thought it would be enough, like, but the people who like fought got through it all in like a day, or like like me, like he literally didn't have any videos for that week until like the end after heist. So he Mark was baffled, like his expectations were defied. So yeah, safe to say that won't happen again when space would happen. Um, but space was also in two parts, so it was a bit of a different case. Um, so yeah, I liked In Space as well. Like I liked Heist because it had like multiple endings, but In Space was different. It didn't have exactly multiple endings in the same way as um, Heist, um, but it did have multiple branching paths, and um, it was interesting. It was more like uh, like a, I guess a Finney loop in a way, with only one, well, technically two leading to endings where it doesn't reset or progress further. There was other endings, support like sort of similar to like Heist, but they weren't endings because each one just progressed the plot. Um, but yeah, yeah, but the two endings were the cryo freeze and the actual ending. But Marx also made other ones, smaller ones, like Don't Open the Door, which has no ending of sorts. Well, the one ending is you die, and there's like 3 or 4 iterations of you dying, but either way, you die. Don't open the door, but it's also a Finney loop, so you can't escape without opening the door. Um, uh, and there was also the automated interview with the Wilfred Warstash, or the Wow, whatever the hell it was. The other ones were, oh yeah, Chica, the Chica one, which I forgot about doing initially, and I think that's it, unless I'm missing one. Am I missing one? No, I don't think so. But yeah, those were interesting, and I can't wait to see what's next in, I guess, the Markiplier universe, the Markiverse. So yeah, but I know what's the next main project, the Iron Lung movie. I wonder how that'll be, and I wonder if it'll have any hints to more of the Markiverse. I wonder if it'll actually be still technically a part of it, because Mark's Mark, and with his story, like its potential, I can't say for certain, not right now, but there's potential that it could end up having somehow have the Markiverse characters like Wilford and Dark. But who knows? Who knows? But I'm excited nonetheless. And I do quite enjoy the stuff that has been, so I'm looking forward to it. And it'll be interesting to see something a bit different, something with a bit more of a strict narrative, point A to point B. I mean, In Space was kinda like that, because there's a point A to point B, but obviously there's the choices, so yeah. It'll be interesting if we end up being surprised by Mark, and maybe there is some sort of branching choice in the movie. Maybe right at the end, and it, it'd be interesting. It would be a surprise to be sure, but a welcome one. But I don't know, I don't know. But seeing that the progression of his major projects was Date, then Heist, which was basically just a bigger version of Date, with the concept being a heist, obviously. Then In Space, which was starting to go more linear, more of a linear story than a bunch of random endings. And now Iron Lung, which will so far seems like it's going to be strictly point A to point B. Yeah, I don't know. Many theories to what Mark could be doing, but who knows? But one thing Mark has done is inspired me within my own story of Michael. And yeah, I mean, I literally kind of stole his videos to be a part of my series. I mean, I reacted to them in character, and did accurate reactions to Michael as my character, but still I basically stole. But yeah, it's funny because Mark's kind of, stealing Iron Lung for himself. So did Lixian, since he made Sinking Iron his game, which was also Iron Lung inspired. So, great minds steal the same ideas, as Lixian said. Great minds steal the same ideas. Basically, there are no original ideas. The names of characters and stuff are maybe different, but the main things are still there. There's always a problem, where it be like more passive or an actual world ending problem, but there's always an antagonist in a story. There's rarely a story that's just good times all around, because that isn't interesting. Like, there always has to be at least one thing, like one like problem, like no matter how big or small, there's always going to be like one thing, one antagonist. But yeah, basic story things have remained the same forever and will remain the same forever. Like, my ideas are only as original as like whoever originally made the ideas in the first place. Like I may be recontextualizing the ideas, making the ideas my own ideas, and like adapting on things, but nonetheless, they're still technically stolen ideas. The only difference is how you present the ideas, like where you go with the story, and yeah, and I guess that's why I'm a story maker myself. Like, I've been inspired by stories like Mark's story and others as well. And I've always had like random stories in my head ever since I was young. I just never made them into anything until like I met Kim and she get me into like role playing, which, is basically making a story about a character. And eventually I expanded it to eventually more characters, bringing back Jimmy, my original character, but Michael ended up being my main character, and like for expanding the world and giving backstory to Michael and Jimmy, and just it expanded and expanded. It's like an exponential curve. Like, everything just got like more and more, and eventually you have a full universe. And that's sort of what I've created, is basically a full breathing universe over the last 2 years. And the rules of the universe are fluid because it's SCP and anything can happen. But I guess there are still, core rules. There's always core rules of major things that are just so integral that you can't remove them, or like if you do keep them, like they'll adapt through time. Like integral pieces such as the void and all that, things that have been created through like my story. But yeah, it's safe to say Mark was definitely a huge inspiration to me, as well as others. They'll probably mention in future podcasts. But for now, I think that'll be it because don't have much else to say about Mark. Is great creator, done so many good projects and played a lot of games. Eventually, I'll reach the same point as Mark if I continue to do things, but my set of games obviously will be different to Mark's because of what things I'm into, and you know, I'm into a lot of games, and that ranges from many different things. From things to Halo, Half-Life, Fallout, blah 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 blah. So many things. And currently I'm on Deltarune, which I'll be doing more of downstream like I did today. But yeah. But that'll end this podcast episode. So thank you all for watching it. And until next time, peace.